All right, so I wanted to address this other statement from one of my current coworkers, and that's Kaylee. I call her Kay for short, and she told me this some months ago. I know she told me sometime last year, I think during the summertime, or is it like right at the beginning of fall? But she told me that there is always there's always a calm before a storm, that there is a storm before the rainbow. And I remember she told me this really popped out to me, especially after the latest incident that I went through just this past Friday. Not this Friday, but excuse me, the previous Friday. And she's where she said, you know, it, it has to get worse. Things have to get worse before they get better. That's what she told me. Things have to get worse before they get better. So I'm gonna focus on this particular saying from what she said, and as I react to it, look, right now I'm going through the darkest of times, which I never had before. Right? Yes, I've been through a lot of ups and downs, and some of them which may seem like the darkest moments that really weren't as dark as what I'm going through now, and especially going through dating back to last year and the year before that. Those are already my dark years, that started. More so, I think at the start of 2022. Well, no, actually, not the start of 22. Like, somewhere in 2023, going all the way to more so 2024. Let's just like from that time period, 2024 up till now, where I'm already seeing my darkest days, and especially after this week, since that ugly incident in my home life. So I never had to go through a time period like that, and so my thing is, as I look at it, I mean, she, from her experience, she probably went through some of the darkest times before things got better for her. And so, in this case, she got a new home. Congrats to her for that, right? So she's that's probably why she told me that. And look, you know, we all have our years where, some of them are going to be our winning years, some of them are not going to be our years. I guess it's to say, excuse me, I guess it's to say that we all go through this certain stretch where we're going to have a stretch of years that are decent to good, and then, a stretch where, we may have like maybe a couple bad years or what have you. So, I mean, life is just, is unpredictable in the sense that, it can lead to any of that. I've always had my good years. I've always had my decent years, in the 2010s, despite one bad year, you know, well, I mean, it was bad before it got better by, you know, where I got this job, my dump that I'm still in to this day. But, I've always had my winning, my winning years. I'm talking about going back to the 2010s and it's in the 2000s. And now I'm going through some very dark times, and unfortunately, I'm still going through it. Like, when it's gonna stop, that's up to me to make the change to do so. I mean, look what Kay did. She, like I said, she got a new home. She's finally, finding a better life. I guess I'm thinking with a new home, because anytime somebody gets a new home, whether you're by yourself or you're with a family or a roommate, you always tend to think that you have a better life to start from there. Now, in the case of me, obviously, that's what I'm aiming at, is to gain my own independence and, my own independence and freedom, which in this case is still very hard because there's still a lot to go through. And obviously, after what transpired in the past, you know, the past week, it's like I'm always been told you got to forget about it, just go on, enjoy your life. I get all that, but it isn't just I got to forget about that anymore. I've had to, like I said in the past video, I'm going through the same healing process that is just already tiresome, and to the point where I need to just let loose. And I hate for me and most of these other guys, including my remaining close friends and even my ex close friends, to see me being the shell of myself that I've been for a long time, to go through all this toxicity, to go through this same annoyance and frustration that it's to what Denise told me before. Not only am I in pain, but I'm also up pain. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, it's come to that. But I never fought myself. My own actions, just as a result of doing this on purpose. It's always the shit around me. So I'm just keeping a beam with y'all, man. But regardless if some people here listening to this video think I'm making excuses, let them have it that way. If they think I'm making excuses, there's always certain things and certain people that are gonna make other people say or do things that they don't mean later on. And unfortunately for guys like Dewey, by the way, I saw that message that he told Russ, and it was not very good. It was it showed that he's fed up. It's like he said that I broke his promise that I wasn't gonna do it again. Unfortunately, I did it. Well, you know what? He at this point, I don't think he's you know under the impression that he believes me any longer. Like that it's not it's not my fault. It's even if it's what was it that he always said that that's not me talking. So it's obvious that's why he's already my ex-close friend. So there's people like him, and I'm saying many people who are never going to buy into my reasoning as to why I'm at my worst. And look, they can understand like what I'm going through and all that, but when it comes to my actions, that's when they lose me. As far as like they think that it's me just doing it on purpose, when I know I would never mean a damn thing to just go about being that. That's not the person I am, and I want them to understand that. But unfortunately, they're not taking it that way. That's why they're all my ex close friends at this point. Until you know, once I find the best, once I find my happiness and joy and my best interest, then I can finally prove them wrong. You know what I'm saying? But until then, they're never gonna believe me like that. So getting back to Kay's saying here, yeah, I think it's interesting she said that because not only did she go through it, I'm sure some other people have gone through it as well. And right now, I'm already reaching the darkest days, since 2024. So now it's up to me to really, set the storm apart, and in order for me to create that rainbow and see it right in front of me. Now it is a tough process, but at the end of the day, it's I gotta do what's best for me, and it's what's best for my mental health, and I like I said before, I'm battling two situations: my dump and my home life. Although it makes more sense to get a new job first because better pay, in order for me to find a new place. You know, everything is just expensive out here, and in California. So anywhere around me, it's just gonna be hell expensive, which is why it just sucks that I'm gonna have to go through that kind of struggle in searching for my own personal space. But for my mental sake, I got to do what I got to do because I'm tired of seeing myself like this, because of these same situations I'm going through as far as like the heated arguments and all that. So I'm just saying, dude. But yeah, it's interesting that Kay said that. So I'm, I'm under the impression that, it is true for some people. And right now I'm going through, the darkness that I've been going through for the last couple of years. And maybe, when I do my best to work things out, then yeah, I think I'll finally see, the rainbow in front of me, you know. But I gotta work at it to find you to get that result, you know. So, and then I'll say will eventually get better for me, right? I think everybody's going through that story, I would think, which is why she said that. So, anyways, that's all I got to say about it, man. Tell what you guys think about what Kay said here. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Peace.